In today's game, we are going to look at uh, a game played between Anglo Grand Prix defense and between Leonid Shamkovich versus Livo. Uh, I'm going to tell you some background of Grand Prix defense that Ernest Grunfeld introduced it into international play at Vienna in 1922, where in his first game with the defense, he then defeated the world champion Alexander Alekhine. And this opening has been used even in World Championship matches against Anatoly Karpov in 1986, 1887, and 1990, and Vladimir Kramnik in 2000. Lord, so let's start with our game. C4, the game started with the English opening, knight f6, knight c3, now d5, immediately challenging the center. C into d5, knight into d5, now knight f3, developing the knight. Now g6, and this is the start of the grand field defense. Now h4, immediately countering on the king side by white. h6 by black, that whenever if he tries to play the move h5, he is going to play the move. For example, he goes for h5, he is going to play the move g5 by himself. So over here, white went out for the move e3. Here, the best continuation was to play the move d4 immediately. Because if now knight into c3 and pawn into c3, bishop g7, now e4, and see over here, white has a very beautiful central control. But I think white did not like this structure of his pawns, because these pawns can be challenged by the move immediately like c5. So in the game, he went out for the move e3 first. Now bishop g7, developing the bishop. Now bishop c4, hitting the knight. So knight has to move back. Knight b6, threatening the bishop now on c4. Sorry. Okay, bishop b3. And now the move c5. And here, actually, white made a little bit mistake and he went out somewhat greedy. Instead of going for the development, the normal move over here was immediately challenging the center. That was the normal move and the best move. But he played the move knight e4, and that is a mistake. I want you people to pause the video and think that how it is a mistake. How you can see. Because if you will not think while watching the video, you will not learn. So think that what is the mistake? White has moved his knight over here to e4, threatening this pawn over here on c5. What but what is the mistake? Because now black can immediately go for immediate development. This knight is weak over here. c4. This was played in the game. And this sacrifice also stops white from developing normally. Because now bishop has to take it after knight into bishop. If bishop does not take this pawn sacrifice, his position will become weak because now bishop c2 and this square is very juicy. And black would immediately go for this square by playing the move knight c6. Now he is saying that I'm going to maneuver my knight over here. h5 trying to counter on the wing, black's wing, but now black can just play the move g5. Rook b1 by white and saying that I am going to challenge your pawn over here on c4 by playing the move b3. But still you go for the move knight b4. White must castle over here. If he goes for the move like b3, what happens? Because now c into b3, and after rook into b3, now knight into c2 check, queen into knight, and the move is bishop e6. Now this rook is coming over here. The queen will have to move. This queen would be giving the check. Black is going to castle. This knight is already weak. So that's why white took this pawn. But now after knight into c4, queen a4 check, knight c6 blocking the check, queen into c4. And now this was the move that you must have seen, that why this knight move was wrong. And the move is bishop f5. Now if this knight moves out of the harm way, this square is being controlled. And you have stopped white from properly developing. And here, white played the move knight c5. And that was another mistake. The best try, at least in this position, was playing the move d3 and going for the castle. This was the best try. After that, bishop e6 challenging the queen. The queen has to move back, queen c2. Now what? Black castles first. This file is not going anywhere. This pawn is still weak. a3 by white. Because this knight was coming over here on b4. Challenging this pawn and challenging this queen. So rook c8. Now the queen is on the open file. Knight c3. Knight has to move back. But now what? Bishop g4. And white has bishop into f3, g into f3, and now you see e6. This queen is hitting this pawn, and that is going to win this pawn. Then this rook is coming over here, putting more pressure on this pawn over here on d3. And in the game, he played the move knight c5. What happens if he plays the move knight c3? The problem is that now black gets strangled. How? Because now knight queen d3. After queen into d3 and bishop into d3, and white tries to get active by playing move b3, black is castles. After bishop b2, now rook ac8. And these both dots are coming over here. This bishop is controlling everything. And white king can't go anywhere. This knight is coming to b4. But he made a blunder, actually, a mistake, by going the knight over here, knight to c5. Going after this pawn. How to get advantage of this white's mistake? Knight c5. Is that your pawn? You see that white is underdeveloped. So why not to take advantage, further advantage of it? c8. The reason behind playing the move rook c8 is that now this knight is pinned to this queen. You are going to kick this queen away. He played the move g4. I'm going to show you that what happens if knight takes the pawn. The reason behind is that now queen b6. Knight goes back, but now knight b4. Now this knight is goner. If you try to save it, d4, now knight c6, g2 check. And this rook is going to fall. So that's why he did not took the pawn and he played the move instead g4, challenging the bishop. But now you see that what happens, b5, getting rid of the protection of this pawn by white queen. Now queen into b5. What? Bishop into b4. Knight h2, protecting the knight. Bishop f5 back. That if white castles now, you are going to play the bishop. Or you are going to play the knight over here. For example, if white castles over here, what happens? Queen d5 immediately first. Now this queen is controlling everything. If now white plays the move rook e1, now how to continue? Bishop h3. Black would be going for the mate. You have to play the move e4. But now queen h5. Still, you are going to take up this pawn. If white tries desperate to save his game by playing the move d4, controlling these dark squares, how to continue? You castle first. White goes for over here queen d3 for going after this bishop. How to continue? Now queen into h4. If white tries to save this pawn, then how to continue? Bishop f5, challenging the queen. So, if white tries to save this queen by playing the knight e4, now rook fd8. And if white tries to save this pawn, do you see what happens? Bishop into e5. This pawn is pinned. And here, white is completely lost. So in the game, he went out for the move e4 immediately. And I want you people to pause the video. Over here, he went out for the move e4 instead. And pause the video and think that what is the best move in this position. Your bishop is threatened on f5. What to do? What is the best move? And the best move in this position, which was that castle. The point is that because now this happened in the game also into f5, now queen d5. Now this queen is threatening the rook. And when white tried to save the game by playing the move castle, now you see the mate coming or the how to win the queen. Whether it would be a mate or whether white would have to lose the queen. Can you see that move? And it is a very simple one. G into f5 first. Now, white tried the move d3. But now he's losing the queen or otherwise mate because now knight to d4. And here white resigned the game because this queen on d5 was controlling this whole diagonal. This knight is coming on e2 with checkmate, and this queen on b5 is falling. And the only defense is that if he plays the move f3, you pick up the queen. If he tries to save the queen, challenge the queen, now it is mate in one, just knight e2 checkmate. So, if you like my today's video, kindly subscribe and hit the bell icon button. Thank you very much.